how do you see card shows fitting into the hobby landscape as we move forward, keeping in mind that some people think there's too many card shows. Some people say that card shows, while they are awesome for transacting, we don't get any comps out of them. You don't know what cards are selling for, which hurts the general market because you don't have that information, those data points. I understand the argument, but it's like I don't care. Like
right. Well,
like
we're
yep. So with all that, let's turn it over to you. How do you see card shows fitting into the overall hobby landscape right now, while there is a contingent of people saying there's too many of them?
Listen, I'll say this: if there's too many of them, it means that the hobby is very healthy. That means there's a market, there's a business to be made out of it. So if there's too many at one point, is it because the hobby is so strong? Is it because people don't have anything else to do? I can't answer that. But I can answer one thing, is that you and I have been in this since we've been almost in diapers. There's no better feeling going into a show and getting the vibe, the rush of finding that gem. So yes, you're always scrolling on your platforms, your preferred selling platforms, your preferred auction houses, but walking into a show and going and finding that special piece that you've been wanting for so long that you've never actually seen physically, because yes, you've seen it online, but you've never held it, seen it, touched it. There's no better feeling. I'm sorry. So thank God there is all of those smaller card shows, medium-sized card shows, and larger card shows, because it provokes a social event that you cannot compare with a virtual access like cell phones and desktops and computers. So for me, it's always going to be something about the feel, the touch, and the hunt.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's nothing like walking into a card show and just, putting your head down and looking through the showcases and scanning for a card that you want to buy, or something that's just going to kind of make your eyes pop and whatever it might be. And then, of course, the I don't know how to say this, the ultra convenience of being able to just pay for it and walking away with it. There's no
physically
risk
having it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I do my fair share of buying online, but you always have in the back of your mind that mail day, which is a great thing in and of itself. The mail day is almost as fun as being at a card show, but there's still that risk of the shipping and all this and that happens. And is it what you wanted, or is it going to be damaged, and how did they ship it? Whereas at a card show, you just get to pick it up and walk away with it. I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Well, see, you just said the word pick up. What I was going to say is the pick. I'm sorry, but the pick, that you actually pick something in a showcase or with a dealer. And don't forget, we're all there with a common interest. How great is it to be surrounded with 500 people to 5,000 to 25,000 people with the common interest of sharing a hobby together? Why do you think book clubs exist, wine clubs, stitching clubs? They all have their shows too. They all have their network. And sure, you can do it online, you can do it on your own at home. But what better feeling to interact with human beings, especially after a pandemic, that are actually selling or buying something that you actually love and have interest in. No computer can beat that. No computer can beat that. I'm sorry.
I agree. It's the energy of the room. I always ask, after a card show that I'm not at, I always ask people, what was the energy like? Like, speak to the feeling you had in the room. What was the energy in the room? What was the energy that people were kind of expressing about the hobby overall? That's the kind. And then the other benefit is that instead of negotiating with somebody through a platform where you can submit an offer and then they can just ignore you, or they can give you a counter offer that is insulting. When you're in person, people are I think they're just a lot friendlier for the most, not everybody, but for the most part, they're easier to work with. You're gonna have fewer sort of altercations in person versus you know, the online drama that can come up. And you know, we see every
keyboard heroes.
Yeah, I mean, and then we see the different excuses that people make on eBay for not paying for items. I mean, that's not going to happen. If you do a deal at a card show, the deal's done. You got their money in your pocket, and they walk away. And I mean, and you know, you've got your new card. So
and the good old handshake, when the deal's completed. I mean,
and fostering relationships for future business. You in person is way better than any online experience, for sure.